Mayhem at Lake George. A huge party getting out of hand over the weekend. The sheriff says there were about a dozen arrests, all due to this year's scene.
Fox 35's Dave Puglisi has a closer look at the bash.
This so-called Mayhem on Lake George event has become a yearly tradition, and while most come out to have a good time, there are always a few that cause some trouble, this year sending one person to the hospital.
Yeah, he's unconscious, large guy on the DJ deck. A lot of blood coming from the head and face.
A fight breaking out in the middle of a massive weekend party.
Like anything else, you have knuckleheads to try to ruin everything that goes on, and our job is to eradicate the knuckleheads.
Sheriff Mike Chitwood was out on the water helping his deputies calm down the ruckus. Their boat guided in by supportive partygoers.
So they actually had to guide us in. I mean, we had to cut our engine, lift it out of the water, and then have them get us in so we could get medical attention to the individual who was severely injured during a fight.
Deputies were able to get the unconscious man to a helicopter and take some of those believed to be involved in the fight into custody.
Have a seat, brother. Have a seat.
The unsanctioned event has become a yearly tradition held at the lake the first Saturday of every May.
It's a moneymaker for the businesses around the area, people coming to restaurants and eating and buying gas and fuel and, stuff like that and everything. So it does help out the community.
For local Dennis Kendall, who frequents the lake, he doesn't find the event to be a bother. Although when the big parties come to town, he likes to stay off the water.
Just let them do their thing. They ain't bother me and let them go on and do whatever. The law enforcement's going to get them out there if they're doing anything wrong.
Sheriff Chitwood said that a vast majority of the people who came out here were following the rules. He says that if this event continues in the future, he would like it to become a permanent event so that the taxpayers aren't the ones that have to pay for the law enforcement presence. In Astor, Dave Puglisi, Fox 35 News.
I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you ever noticed that when somebody acts wild, ignorant, or just plain out of pocket, that people only call it ghetto if it's a black person? Well, let me break down to you why they do that. They do that because content creators and media outlets have figured out a formula. And the formula is this: take any chaotic behavior, slap the word ghetto on it, make sure there's a black face attached, and watch the views roll in. But here's what they don't want you to realize. They're literally trying to program you. Anytime you see that word attached with that image, your brain makes a connection that was never supposed to exist. Because like I always tell you on this channel, behavior has no race. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how they use the ghetto formula to make you forget that. First things first, let me show you how this formula was engineered. Did you know that the term ghetto didn't start as a way to describe black behavior? It actually comes from Europe, where it was used to describe poor neighborhoods where Jewish immigrants was forced to live. Fast forward to America in about the 20th century, they started using it to describe poor, segregated black neighborhoods. And that's when they pulled the switch. It stopped being about poverty and location and got tied directly to blackness. And that wasn't an accident. That was the recipe being born. Now here's where it gets calculated. Somewhere down the line, the media discovered, hold on, wait. We can take any chaotic behavior, call it ghetto, and if there's a black person involved, it's going to get more clicks, more engagement, and of course, more outrage. But being ghetto isn't a skin color. It's a poverty thing. It's a circumstance thing. And more importantly, it isn't a black American thing. It's a worldwide phenomenon.
Hey, you know what the fuck you say wrong, baby? What they say?
That's some bomb ass shit.
You never say wrong with me, baby.
That's right.
By the way, we have the hell problem.
Let me tell you about my life growing up in the hood. I had it hard cause I was white. They ain't think that I was with it. They ain't think that I could fight. They ain't think that I could rap until I showed them I was nice. When I got to high school, I started trapping at school. got a little whip and I started acting a fool. My partner started hitting licks and I thought that it was cool. Then it all went left when I went got me a tool. Started sliding on them trips, round with a blick. Got in a couple shootout, shots fired, but I missed. Thank the Lord that I did, cause if I didn't, I'd be still in the cage. Looking back, I was a kid just dealing with pain. Young and insecure, dumb and immature. Got a taste of power, I was hungry for some more. Built a reputation, I was loving it too. Little did I know that God will humble me soon. One day, I'm driving, I get cut off on my block. I look up, I'm surrounded by some undercover cops. My stomach drop, I know that I'm in trouble and I'm shocked. My light flash as I'm looking down the muzzle of a Glock. Damn, they tell me show my hands. They put me in the cuffs and then they throw me in a van. Man, I never thought that this the life I'd have. Now I'm on my way to jail just like my dad.
So you just saw it with your own eyes. Every single one of those clips, same energy, same behavior, same chaos. But here's how it works. If anybody black displays what you just watched, suddenly the headline reads black fatigue, or ghetto fight breaks out, or more ghetto behavior caught on camera. But a group of white folks start brawling in the Walmart and suddenly it's not ghetto anymore. It's this Florida man goes crazy, or these rednecks went on a rampage, or they just say these particular people have lost their minds. Now, notice what just happened. The same exact behaviors got completely different labels placed on it based on one thing: skin color. That's not coincidence. That's the ghetto formula in action. White people get individualized. This particular person's having a bad day. This particular person's crazy. Or these particular people are rednecks, which refers to working outdoors and not behavior, but that's a different story for a different day. But black people, we get collectivized. One person's behavior is somehow a reflection of our entire race. And content creators know exactly what drives engagement. Controversy sells. Racial coding sells. The algorithm rewards it. So they keep feeding you the same formula over and over until your brain automatically connects being ghetto with being black, even though you just watched a bunch of different races displaying the same exact behavior. And one of the worst parts about it all is this doesn't just stay online. It bleeds into real life. When people consume this content day after day, it affects how they deal with black people in grocery stores, at work, and in schools. It affects hiring decisions, police interactions, and how teachers deal with students. This ghetto formula isn't just stealing clicks and moving on. It's reinforcing stereotypes that have real life consequences. These low-level content creators don't even care they're using a racial code word for behavior that actually has nothing to do with race. They just make their videos, get their ad revenue, and move on. But black people, we have to live every day with the false programming they're spreading. And here's the thing. This isn't happening by accident. They study the data. They know exactly what gets clicks, what gets shares, and what gets people arguing in the comments. Here's how it works. Step 1, find chaotic behavior. Step 2, make sure the person's black so they can emphasize ghetto or black fatigue in their titles and thumbnails. Step 3, step back and watch the engagement explode as people argue about race in the comments, or worse, create an echo chamber where people get to spew their hate without any opposing viewpoints. Step 4, profit off the division you created. Meanwhile, you're programming a whole generation to associate certain behaviors with certain races. And as you know, behavior has no race. And here's the crazy part. Most of the creators that use this formula probably don't even realize the actual harm that they're causing in society. They're just chasing the algorithm. But here's what I need you to understand. Every time you click on content that uses this formula, every time you share it, every time you argue in the comments, you're feeding the machine. You're telling the algorithm you want more of these type of videos. So here's your homework. The next time you see somebody call behavior ghetto, ask yourself this: would they use that same word if the person looked different? If the answer is no, then you just caught the black fatigue blueprint in action. Don't let them program you. Behavior has no race, period. And now you know exactly how they try to make you think it does. If this opened your eyes, then hit that subscribe button, because I'm breaking down a new formula every week. And trust me, once you start to see these patterns, you won't be able to unsee them.